welcome to Insights, a podcast focused on bringing you interesting conversations. As a college student with a love for learning and an interest in communications, I have conversations with others that are focused on learning more and going deeper. In this series before the November 8th election, I interview candidates for the Board of Education in Ravenna, Michigan, my hometown and where I went to school. I hope these conversations help you learn more about who these candidates are, what they believe, and really, just get to know them better. Before we begin, I have to include a disclaimer. Some of these episodes were recorded at Ravenna Baptist Church and Ravenna High School. Neither of these institutions endorses any candidate running for office, and do not necessarily hold any views expressed by myself or any candidate that I interview. Their facilities were simply used as spaces in which to record. One final note. I have my own personal beliefs and views just like everyone else. Doing these interviews exposed me to a lot of new ideas, many of which I'm still forming my opinions on. I do not endorse any specific candidate. However, you may see some of my personal beliefs come through as a natural part of the discussion. Please reach out if you have any questions or concerns. I'd be happy to discuss anything that was said. With that out of the way, please enjoy my conversation with Mr. Robert Becklin. But yeah, no, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. No, like I was saying, I guess what I love about media and communications and all of that is you can take ideas and I guess communicate them in a way that like writing can't. Like, so podcast or anything, it's different when you hear the voices as opposed to reading it on a page. It's different from seeing the video and watching movies and stuff like that. That's what I love about the communication space and kind of what I wanted to try podcasting for and all of that. So that was my biggest thing there. But yeah, I'm not sure completely where career-wise it might end up, but I figured it might be a decent way to try this out. So
good starting point.
Good starting point, yeah.
Yep, good for you.
Gotcha. But yeah, thank you again for coming on. I appreciate it. Again, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to start this, where I'll fade in or whatnot, but we've got everything rolling. So do you mind if we just hop into the questions I had?
Betcha.
Cool.
All set.
Awesome. Well, for those of us who don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, just who is Robert?
Bob's fine. Yeah. Robert's my real name. So
gotcha. Who is Mr. Becklin then? Because I know
Mr.
a little
Becklin.
bit, but I know a little bit knowing Grant, but not a whole lot. So yeah, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I kind of grew up with your dad. So your dad and he was a year ahead of me in school.
Okay, gotcha.
So graduated in 1992 from Ravenna High School.
Gotcha.
So I haven't left this community. I went to the other side of the street. So our little compound out there in Slocum is where I'm originally from, and I have not left that place.
Gotcha.
So I married to a wonderful lady, Lynn Becklin, for 22 years now. We've got 3 children that have went through the district. Blake graduated in 2021, Grant 2022, and Bree will be graduating in 2023.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I will say that makes your graduation party planning a whole lot easier, just one right after another.
I gotta say, it's been a handful too.
I'd imagine.
There's been a lot of sporting events, a lot of activities. Lynn and I have been blessed to be able to go to probably 98% of those.
For sure.
So it's going to be bittersweet when Bree graduates.
I'd imagine. Yeah. And with all your kids in multiple sports too, that is really impressive too, to be able to have that. No, that is awesome.
But yeah, I've been in this community my whole life. I love Ravenna. I will always love Ravenna. I've been on the school board for 10 and a half years now. I've had 2 terms, one 4.5-year term, and then a 6-year term that's going to be coming up at the end of this year. So, what else about Bob? I love kayaking, bicycling.
Yeah.
Lynn and I've got e-bikes now.
Okay. Yeah. I've always wanted to try those. Those do look pretty cool.
Yep. They're a lot of fun. It's a game changer for sure. Especially when you're 50. So
what do you mean? You'll be fine.
Fine. Well, it's not like it used to be. So
gotcha.
Got to have that little assist. So I've also manage a hog farm. We have 1,000 head of hogs on our family farm.
Gotcha.
Great grandpa bought the place in 1942, so it's been through many generations and is still in our family. So
yeah.
And then of course I've been involved with manufacturing for 30 years now, so all the way from working on the floor, serving an apprenticeship, working my way on up to operations manager. So
well, there you go.
yeah.
No, that's a handful, all right. And with 3 kids in that mix too, I'm sure it gets interesting.
Oh, it does. There's been many days where well, that's probably why I don't have so much hair left. So.
Gotcha. No, my dad has the same. He's got that little white patch right there, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I know what that's from.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I didn't know you guys had the farm either. So you've got that in addition to manufacturing, then?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yep. So I dare say I said 30 years of manufacturing. I probably got 45 years of working on the farm. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, that is really cool. I didn't realize that about you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys live right on the farm then, or do you?
Actually, we live across the street.
Okay, gotcha.
But we're very close to the farm. Yeah.
Cool. No, that's awesome. But yeah, no, that gives us a great background. Stayed in Ravenna all your life. Did you go to college in the local area? Just start in an apprenticeship in the local area?
Well, Ravenna pattern. Neil Emery ended up paying for some of my classes at community college.
Gotcha.
And then I did that for quite a few years. Almost had an associate's from Ravenna pattern. And then I had an opportunity to go to Anderson pattern. Now it's Anderson Global.
Oh, yeah.
Served an apprenticeship there for 4 years and finished off my degree in machining. So
Gotcha. Okay.
And then I was a pattern maker for a couple of years, and then had the opportunity to come into the management side. So
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I've heard a lot of people in those shoes, but it's cool that you're able to manage all of that and kids and everything. That's really cool. But yeah, so you kind of told us this a little bit already, but just your history with Ravenna. You said you grew up here. I usually save this one for the end, but I think I'll ask it now. What's the thing you love most about this town? Like, whether it's a special memory or something like that, the people. You've been here a long time. What's the thing that makes Ravenna special for you?
Every day that I drive home, I can't wait to get to the village.
Gotcha.
So it's just those deep roots that you have as a community member, especially a lifelong community member.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, everybody that I see, it just brings back a memory. So
For sure.
Whether it's an old teacher or an old colleague or, just, our neighbors. So
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that is, yeah, you said it very well. That is definitely a good part of this community. And that actually ties into a little bit to the next question I had for you. Why are you running for school board? I know you've ran in the past. What's your reasons behind this? Because I've asked every candidate, and every candidate has something different. So what's your reasons for running for school board, and is there a particular issue you're running to address, or just in general?
Well, I've ran for school board many times, and the main reason is for the kids.
Gotcha.
So that's the most important, is the kids. The first time I ran, I was very inexperienced, learned a lot those first 4.5 years. This second term has seasoned me, so I'm a little bit more observant when it comes to other issues that the school has.
Gotcha.
But I'll always go back to the main reason why I'm running for school board is for the kids.
Gotcha.
The second would be for the staff, for the employees of the district. There's a lot of good people in this district, and I'm there to support them.
Yeah.
So, and if they knew and realized that a lot of us board members are there to support them, I think they would be very pleased.
Gotcha. No, for sure. Did you serve when your wife was secretary at the middle school then?
Yes.
Was it weird coming home and realizing that you're her boss?
Yeah, to some extent. School board member, we hire and fire the superintendent. We make policy. We enforce policy.
Yeah.
That is the basic role of a school board member. Anything else beyond that is micromanaging. So I never really brought that to the table with Len.
And
so
to be honest, it probably wouldn't have gone too well.
She probably would set me straight anyway. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's fun. But no, yeah, no, that's really good. You had mentioned some of the issues that, like, you're not running for a specific one, but that your eyes have been opened. You're a little bit more aware of that. Is there a specific, I guess I'll ask this way. What do you believe is the most pressing issue for Ravenna schools right now?
Well, today, currently, presently, it is mental health. Our kids are struggling day to day. Even our teachers and staff, employee members, bus drivers, it's tough.
I'd imagine.
It is hard. As a school board member, again, going back to supporting your employees, supporting your people, letting them know that we do care about them and that we're there and 100% behind them. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, mental health is a a huge one, I guess, especially after coming out of the pandemic and that. Having served on the school board this last term, what's some of the, as you guys have realized that's become more of an issue, what's some of the things you guys have tried to do to address that? Because I've definitely seen those efforts when I was a student, but just for those who don't know, what were some of those efforts that were put in, or I guess places they want to go in the future as well?
Well, there's a lot of grant money out there from the federal level, and I know we've applied for numerous of them and have received some grant dollars. That is helping. Otherwise, the federal government has put in a lot of money towards the pandemic, the COVID relief.
Right.
So we've taken a lot of advantage of that. We've worked with the ISD, gained some ground there too. So
Yeah.
whether it's counseling or, getting kids involved with either sports or after school activities. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. I can't remember. I think it was Mr. McFerrin was telling me, the percentage of kids who used to be involved in like something out school related, but not like academically related, like extracurriculars and all that, it used to be like it's plummeted so much. And I guess I can kind of see in terms of a mental health perspective
Where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to say, but these little devices here probably have a big thing on that. We use them every day. It's kind of our roles have switched as, people, our society. You used to go to the teller at the bank and get your money out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do that anymore. It's all on our shoulders to take care of that, right? You go to see the doctor. What do you got to do? You got to do the paperwork ahead of time and submit it with your phone. So a lot of these things come into play with the technology that we've got today.
Yeah.
And it comes back to the mental health because kids are addicted to them. I'm addicted to my phone too. I sit there in my chair and I should be out going for a walk and getting some exercise, but I'd rather be, surfing the internet. So.
No, I get it. That's a struggle for all of us. And just to think on that too, I obviously graduated with Grant, so I've seen, like, I was just recently in the school, but I'm sure you've seen that with the students to where walking through the hallways, I'm sure in your days, no one's heads were down just looking at a little device in their hand. It was talking with people and all that, but now it's a lot of head down. Just keep going forward.
Yeah,
so.
Back in my day, we had the glass hallway, is what we called it back at the old high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was the last graduating class from that high school, but we'd have to walk through that hallway to get to our classes.
Yeah.
So you definitely wasn't looking at your phone. You were worried about if you were dressed properly and who you were going to sit next to in the glass hallway. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, times have definitely changed, and for the better, for worse, I guess. Like, there's so much that technology can be used for. I mean, the technology initiatives, we're sitting in the media center. There's so much here.
Yeah. And I'm not negative about the devices because,
right.
I've learned a lot, and it's just managing it, right? Your time.
For sure.
I guess that's what it comes down to, is managing your time and making sure that you're well-rounded and able to do other things besides just being on your phone all day long.
Right. No, that's a really good one. Just again, with you had mentioned support for the staff and all of that. What's some of those things that have been encouragements to the staff members and all of that, just to help kids with that, right? Because I know for a lot of parents, it's hard. They've got jobs already. They're coming home. Sometimes the phone has to be like, it just is what it is at their house. What supports have been given to teachers just to be able to help them, I guess, encourage students to, I guess, lift their heads up at very least and try that? Can you speak to any of that or ideas at a school board level?
PD, personal development, that the school, spends quite a bit of money and time for the teacher support. And,
yeah.
I think that's a positive thing. We do that quite a bit throughout the year. When the staff or a teacher does something exceptional, I'll chime in on an email and tell them, hey, great job. You've done well. You know? And I think that means a lot. It really does. So.
Yeah. But like in terms of teachers helping students, I guess, get off their phones, like, has there been any thought or talk about that? I get it's not necessarily just a school issue.
Well, that can be a hot topic. A lot of, I've seen.
And sorry to hit you with the hot topic right away.
In the media, and I've seen a lot of it with the TV, with topics of maybe we need to take the phones away during class time. Maybe we need to rearrange something a little bit different to where they've got, their phones half the class period, or maybe the other half they don't. However they do that, there's all these different ideas out there. I don't know which one's the right one.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, but either way, that's definitely an issue that'll
It is
be coming up in the future.
Issue. It's a big distraction.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Gotcha. No, sorry to get off on a tangent there. I just felt like that was something, especially since you'd mentioned that I figured might be good to talk about there. Mental health obviously being the most pressing issue. What do you believe the role of the education system is in our community? Obviously, right, we want to educate the kids, but what's the best way the public school does that in the community, and especially in the context of Ravenna, right? Because we're small, I feel like everything is intertwined. What do you feel like is the role of the public school in this community, and how's the best way for the public school to achieve that?
It's a great question. I think there's many, many good answers. The role of the public school in our community, well, the public school is the pillar. We have to educate our kids so that they can grow up to be good citizens like you and I, and be productive in life, and
sure.
give back to this community. We're the school is there to educate our students, but on the same token, the school is almost like a mini economy. I mean, you stop and think about all the things that happen in the school
100%,
that takes, everything else in the community to support it. Right? So like your football games or your basketball games, girls basketball games, right? Look at all the jobs that are created, or all the activities that come along with that game, right? Whether it's the band or it's the parade, right?
Yeah.
You're driving your car through the parade, you need gas, or you're going to stop at the gas station to get the gas. It's just, if you think about it, it's a huge, small mini economy. The school it's probably one of the bigger employers of our community too. So
I'd imagine
all of the teachers, all the staff members have got to get gas and food and lunch, and so there's a lot of Wesco donuts out there, right?
For sure.
So,
hey, that's not a bad thing though. That is not a bad thing.
So yeah, I guess the role of the school is to be the center of the community and support our kids, and raise them or educate them to be good community members that either stay in this community or go to a different community and raise their kids the way that they were raised.
Gotcha. Yeah. And obviously, like, I know it's not just the school, it's parents too, but that's for sure a good, I think a very good summary of just the role of the education system in the community. That's huge. This is one I've been wanting to ask a few of you guys who've actually served on the board before. Coming from a student perspective, I don't know a whole lot. What is it that a school board member actually does? Like, obviously, I know you guys attend meetings, right? You kind of said the basics, right? Hire a superintendent, enforce policy and all of that. But in terms of, I guess, day-to-day and all of that, what is it that you guys do?
Day-to-day, in my opinion, a school board member stays out of the school business.
Really?
We're there to governance, watch over, listen to our community members. But for day-to-day operations, you would be micromanaging if you were involved with the school like that.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's kind of where the line is drawn.
Gotcha.
And that's just my opinion.
No, that's a good thought there. So, I guess then from a broader perspective, then hire a superintendent. Hire staff members, enforce policy. Can you give some examples of just some of those that you guys have done in the past? Like, obviously hiring a superintendent, it's obvious, but just like some of that enforcement of policy, how does that actually play out in real life and all of that?
So you hire a superintendent who then puts his team together, the principals, the counselors, the administration team, basically, right?
Yeah.
And they do their jobs. And then as issues come up, whether, there's a policy for that or not, then you look into that policy and you follow that policy as the school has written it. Now, when there's issues, you always have to remember the right chain of command. So let's just say that there's a sporting issue. So you would start with the principal of that school, whether it's middle school or high school and
Right.
then ask those questions. And if you're not happy with that,
Mhm.
then you could go to the superintendent. If you're
Mhm.
still not happy, then you can go to the school board.
Gotcha.
So following that chain of command is very important too.
Yeah.
So, but for a school board member, the day-to-day operations is up to the superintendent and the team that they put together. So
Gotcha. Yeah. And that's, again, a question more out of my ignorance. But I felt like I wanted to give the community just a sense of what you guys do in that. So that definitely does help out a lot. Um, Another question here. How do you stay focused on the students when there are so many other distractions? Obviously, you see politicians, and I'm not saying like school board specific, but politicians in general, you can get, I guess, sometimes sidetracked by other things instead of focusing on the people you're representing. What's some ways that you try and remember and do that and just stay focused on the students and I guess the board in general? What is their practices just to make sure, hey, we're here for the kids, we support the kids, nothing more, nothing less type of thing.
So it's always good when the board gets the opportunity to have either, individuals or maybe a small group come to the board meetings to,
Okay.
excuse me, represent what they're doing or at least show us what they've done, the awards that they've, been involved with.
Yeah.
A lot of Tammy Contola's DI groups have come and presented to the board,
Mhm.
which is very, very enlightening. That's the reason why we do what we do, right? Is for the kids.
Right.
So, to see that FFA is another prime example of all the great things that they're doing,
Mhm.
especially for the community too. I mean, the sporting, the football, the basketball, when they go down and they're painting the fence at the cemetery and
Yeah.
giving back to the community, that's very, very great for a school board member to witness.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. No, that's good. No, that's excellent. One of, I guess, a question to tie into that too. People have kids, and that's sometimes one of the most important, like, I guess, emotionally invested parts of their lives, right? Um, how do you keep that personal and I guess the emotions out of the professional and of the running of the school board and all that? Because there's obviously a fine line, right? Like, everyone is passionate about your kids. You are the parent who has kids in the school system, is all of that. How do you keep that passion and just say, yes, that's important, but how do you keep the personal out of the professional and just say, okay, we're focused? I guess it ties into the last question, but just focused on the kids there and making sure to stay level-headed and all of that.
Well, there's been a lot of coaches through the years, and a lot of them have this 24-hour rule. So when you're in whether it's a debate or a game or whatever it might be, and you don't think it's going the way it needs to be going, at least for your kid or the team or whatever it might be, and you have a difference of opinions from what the coach has, you wait 24 hours. Because a lot will change in 24 hours. And you'll probably be happy that you didn't say, because words you can't take back.
That is very true. That is very true.
I would recommend that to just about anybody. And yeah, just recently I went through it. So
gotcha. No, that's good. I've heard that rule before, but it's something I definitely need to remember, and I think all of us can take to heart as just a lesson there.
Excuse me, we're all just people.
Yeah.
Right? We have to learn to get along with everybody, the give, the take, the compromise, know. And if you can't do that, then you're probably not gonna be a part of a great community that we are.
Right.
So
there has to be the give and take in that, for sure. Yeah, that's most of the questions I had here for you. I guess if people wanted to reach out or ask you any questions just upcoming before the election, what are some good ways to do that? And I'll make sure to link them in the description or whatever when I end up posting this.
I'm on Facebook with my wife, so it would be Len Bob Becklin.
Len Bob Becklin. I like that. There you go.
So that would probably be the best, and you can do that through Messenger too.
Gotcha.
There's always email too.
Gotcha.
So the school has an email for all of us board members, so you can reach us through that.
For sure. And that one is...
I believe it's my Board of Education email. How do I do it?
Yeah, and my goal with this is not to swamp you guys with messages or anything. I just figure if someone has questions from the community that might be interested.
The best thing to do is get a hold of central office and talk to Jeannie Robinson, and then she would give whoever needs that email.
For sure.
Yep.
Awesome. That sounds great. And I guess things getting in the way. No, yeah. I guess last thing for you, anything specific you want to address or anything like that, or final thoughts? Usually I end with what's your favorite memory of Ravenna, so you can throw that in there if you want to, but any just final thoughts or things you'd like to say just in this conversation before we wrap up here?
If you're lucky enough to live in Ravenna, you're lucky enough. So
that's very true.
Yeah,
that's very true. Well, I think that's a good note to end on. Thank you so much, Mr. Becklin. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Insights. If you liked it, please leave a rating on Spotify or YouTube and comment on your thoughts. I'd love your feedback on this episode, the podcast in general, or ideas for future episodes. You can message me on Facebook or on Instagram at Isaac Cantola, all lowercase. I hope you all enjoyed. Thanks for listening.